2019 Volkswagen Arteon Coupe Review. The VW Arteon is tagged by its maker like a 5-door Gran Turismo, which in less fluffy terms means it's essentially a far more attractive, and pricier, 5-door coupe solution to the Passat. But perhaps such plain dealing is uncharitable, for Volkswagen has put quite a lot of effort into this car, combining a strikingly distinctive design that moves way after dark safely conservative ethos on the Passat with impressively generous interior space as well as a strong increased exposure of safety. Indeed, numerous active safety systems make their Volkswagen debut within the Arteon, also it scores a deserved 5-star rating within the Euro NCAP crash test. It is, to put it differently, the company's new flagship. But does that mean consider one over more premium rivals? Watch, VW Arteon vs Kia Stinger vs Audi A5 Sportback. Volkswagen Arteon rivals. Following on the 4-door Volkswagen CC Coupe, referred to as Passat CC before its facelift, the Arteon sees every man VW upping its premium game in order to challenge the likes in the BMW 4 Series Grand Coupe as well as its in-house rival the Audi A5 Sportback. It also competes contrary to the Volvo S90 Saloon, Skoda Superb hatchback, while Volkswagen itself cites the Mercedes C-Class and Jaguar X as key rivals. Although they share numerous engineering details, for example the underlying MQB platform architecture, the Audi and Volkswagen will not be carbon copies, since the two VW Group products have different dimensions. The Audi is leaner, whilst the Arteon is longer, wider and contains a greater distance between its axles, making the cabin bigger. Less highfalutin Arteon rivals range from the Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport, and then number of conventional mid-size saloons and fastbacks. Volkswagen Arteon engines. Arteon buyers obtain a choice of half-dozen engines, which has a USP watch of petrol and diesel choices. All models consist of fast-shifting twin-clutch DSG automatic gearboxes as standard, bar the entry-level 150 horsepower petrol and diesels, the place you have to pay extra for just a self-shifting box. The range-topping models, the 280 horsepower 2.0-litre petrol and 240 horsepower 2.0-litre diesel, both feature VW's 4-motion 4-wheel drive as standard, which gives strong traction on slippery roads. Volkswagen Arteon trim levels. The Arteon comes in just 2 UK trim levels, Elegance and R-Line. As their names suggest, one places and focus on luxury, another offers a sportier ethos. Whichever Arteon you go searching for, you will get plenty of kit as standard, including a lot of in-car tech, safety kit and luxurious touches. These incorporate a 8.0-inch touchscreen infotainment system with sat-nav, back and front parking sensors, adaptive cruise control and heated leather seats. R-Line models, meanwhile, gain bolder styling and greater wheels to get a sportier feel. Other equipment about the options list includes a sophisticated adaptive dynamic chassis control, DCC, system, which enables you to adjust suspension and steering settings, opening panoramic glass sunroof, a head-up display and upgraded 9.2-inch sat-nav system. 6 petrol and diesel engines from which to choose. DSG automatic gearbox situated on all models. Range-topping models feature all-wheel drive. 150 horsepower 1.5-litre petrol and a pair of 0.0-litre diesel models to powerful 2.0-litre variants with 280 horsepower and 240 horsepower respectively. The range-topping models feature 4-wheel drive as standard for harnessing their substantial power tallies along having a dual-clutch automatic gearbox in the 2KEZA. Is the 240 horsepower Arteon diesel a bit of good? Using sequential turbocharging, one small turbo for low revs feeding into a large turbo at high revs, the 240 horsepower diesel certainly doesn't drag its heels. With a sinking 500 Nm of torque available between 1,750 to 2,500 revolutions per minute, it's probably an excellent job VW fitted 4-wheel drive as standard. The benchmark 0 to 62 mph sprint takes 6.5 seconds, helped with the DSG Auto, which snaps keenly through upshifts to provide maximum standing start acceleration, and top speed is 152 miles per hour. It's not probably the most exciting sounding engine, despite having the sport noise function engaged. Nevertheless, it delivers substantial forward thrust inside a smooth and satisfying fashion. Is the 280 horsepower Arteon a worthy range topper? While it generates far less torque as opposed to Arteon's strongest diesel, the 280 horsepower TSI petrol's 350 Nm can be obtained over a much wider of range, 1,700 to 5,600 revolutions per minute. This causes it to become very flexible. Extra urge can be obtained whenever you need it, but strangely uninvolving to push. It will just keep piling for the speed, leaving the motive force with little to perform. The normal DSG and 4-motion combo only exacerbates this sensation. Still, with 0 to 62 miles per hour taking just 5.6 seconds as well as a top speed of 155 miles per hour, it'll keep most hot hatches, along with the Arteon's premium German rivals, greatly on their toes. The soundtrack is much more engaging here, too. And all of told we're feeling it's the petrol engine that fits the Arteon's continent-crushing Gran Turismo brief the most effective, even though its thirstier fuel consumption means you'll ought to stop your continental touring more regularly, and pay more to the privilege also. A little engine drone is usually audible through the back seat at motorway speeds, though, surprising for any modern petrol car. It's not an issue, but we'd expect slightly less noise from beneath the bonnet. Arteon 2.0 TDI 150 diesel probably be bestseller. Volkswagen predicts how the entry-level diesel will be probably the most popular Arteon. While not slow, the engine feels as though it's first got its work eliminate hauling throughout the Arteon's hefty frame. We'd that is amazing. Many drivers who value the Arteon's relaxed driving style would similarly value more power, to make sure they don't should work the motor as hard. Consequently, the 190 horsepower version with the same engine is likely to be a satisfying choice. Petrol 190 horsepower 2.0-liter model pleasant to push. The 190 horsepower petrol's extra muscle on the 150 horsepower diesel produces a big difference. The engine feels a lot more responsive plus the car lighter. Though diesel engines normally provide greater muscle at low engine speeds, this petrol is almost as strong, even barely above idle. That causes it to be a very good fit to the Arteon, though company car drivers are probably be worse off in big tax terms while using petrol compared while using 150 horsepower diesel. The gap is probably be much smaller compared together with the 190 horsepower diesel, however. Driving modes. A driving mode selector comes with a choice between Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport and Individual driving modes. Each of these behaves while you'd expect, adapting the accelerator response along with the gearbox programming and steering weight to fit, as well because the suspension firmness in the event the optional adaptive dynamic chassis control strategy is specified. As usual, the DSG transmission successful under manual control, especially while using paddle shifters for the back in the steering wheel, though should you choose like drive an automobile this way you'll discover the petrol's more satisfying compared to the diesel. Like with less torque these seem able to better deal with downshift demands when traveling quickly. See the safety section for information about the Arteon's high-tech adaptive cruise control system. Only tested on dynamic chassis control suspension up to now. This gives a vast amount of adjustment choices. Fast and flat inside the corners being a result, and not thrilling. The Arteon is obtainable with several suspension setups. Opt for a four-wheel drive model and you obtain dynamic chassis control, DCC, adaptive suspension as standard, which helps you to adjust the firmness on the shock absorbers depending around the type of driving you're doing. If you desire this choosing a two-wheel drive model, though, you'll be forced to pay extra for your privilege. Meanwhile, people who opt for an R-line model can decide between two DCC versions, the traditional version along with a second sportier lowered suspension setup. We first drove the VW Arteon fitted together with the DCC system, as well as on larger, optional wheels. You might expect this last addition to ruin the ride comfort, though the Arteon continues to be engineered for 20-inch wheels right through the start, in order that it copes together surprisingly well, even on bumpier surfaces. The DCC plays a sizable role on this, however, as it's one on the most variable systems we've ever found. Volkswagen Arteon DCC suspension system. It's not just which the DCC presents a substantial difference between its softest and hardest settings, although it does indeed try this. Rather that as opposed to simply presenting the typical comfort, normal and sport settings, VW has added levels of adjustment apart from these choices. Select the individual driving mode function, therefore you're presented, which has a touch screen slider at the top with the central display, supplying you with access to no lower than 43 different intervals of suspension control. Some will reason that this is an excessive amount of choice, and they're probably right, however it's certainly a novelty that enthusiastic buyers will love playing with. What's the Volkswagen Arteon like to operate a vehicle? The cynical may additionally suggest it is VW's technique of distracting said buyers from what on earth is otherwise a significant conventional driving experience. While you can come up a selection of normal and sport steering weights, there is little change about the way the Arteon handles that can really draw you in the process of driving it. The progressive steering system doesn't help. VW uses a similar technology for the Golf GTI and Golf R, and it also is built to give you light, quick steering at low speeds for agility, as well as a steadier, weightier feel for stability when going faster. Trouble is, in addition, it ends up slightly numb and inconsistent. Don't get us wrong, the Arteon is actually by no means a poor car to operate a vehicle. In fact, it covers ground quickly if you need it to, with limited body roll and lots of composure. It's not very incisive about its direction changes from the manner of, say, a BMW 4 Series, again living around its Gran Turismo billing as opposed to substituting for the sports car. Modern yet still user-friendly inside. Discovery Pro multimedia successful. Comfort and quality high. Inside the Arteon it's a lot contemporary Volkswagen, turned around 11. In the center from the cockpit sits the modern 8.0-inch Discovery navigation sat-nav infotainment system. With its responsive touchscreen and highly intuitive operation logic, it doesn't take very long to get familiar with this in any respect, whether or not the much-touted gesture control functionality is reasonably limited. Better yet, VW hasn't forgotten the need for providing physical buttons for probably the most important interior controls, like the air conditioning system. The optional 9.2-inch Discovery Pro system does do away with some from the physical controls for that media system, however, rendering it more distracting make use of while driving. Active Info Display. This is VW's name with the virtual cockpit digital dial cluster, increasingly found over the Volkswagen Group's various selection. Sitting in which the conventional instruments familiar with B is a considerable screen that performs hundreds of normal driving functions, for instance telling you your speed and engine revs, plus a lot more. A secondary map screen for your sat-nav can be obtained here, for instance, at the same time as use of the various active safety systems and also your music choices and sat-nav information. All of this really is controlled via buttons for the steering wheel. It's the daunting array of capability in the beginning, but as while using main screen within the center with the car you soon get employed to it. The optional head-up display brings an extra source of info for the motorist. Volkswagen Arteon interior quality and driving position. The Arteon's interior quality is well as much as the mark of a typical rival in this particular sector, which means you won't feel shortchanged with this respect. DCC suspension mostly comfortable, even on large 19 and 20-inch wheels. Excellent seats, plenty of space from the rear. Fine smooth roads as well as the Arteon is incredibly comfortable drive an automobile with compliant suspension and little noise making itself heard. Encounter an average stretch of scarred, pockmarked British tarmac, however, as well as the car struggles to smother the road surface likewise as you'd hope, in spite of the optional dynamic chassis control rolling around in its comfort mode. It's not uncomfortable at all, but it really can feel jarring spanning a series of bumps in quick succession, with noise from rough roads resonating their high through the cabin greater than expected. Still, while using DCC set on the comfort end of the considerable spectrum, on better roads bumps are unlikely to trouble you. This clever adaptive suspension system absorbs nasty surfaces with considerable ease, although we did detect an occasional cool resonance with the cabin over particularly bad patches of tarmac. Things are apart to be better using the 18-inch standard wheels of Elegance models, as there's an extra inch of rubber between you plus the road. Volkswagen Arteon refinement. Refinement is usually pretty good inside the Arteon. Unsurprisingly, the TSI petrol is much more refined versus the TDI diesel, having a touch of drone emanating through the TDI sometimes. In the TSI, the worst you can expect is usually a bit of wind noise, this also only at higher motorway speeds. Volkswagen Arteon seats, comfort and space. This is often a spacious car front and back. Legroom inside the back is extremely generous, VW reckons class leading, and 4 up you won't struggle for elbow and shoulder room, either, though taller adults might possibly not have as much headroom as they'd like. The middle rear seat is most beneficial left to children, because of the raised seat base and prominent center tunnel needed to accommodate the four-wheel drive system. It still feels like a much more spacious car within the back compared to the Audi A5 Sportback, however. Heated and massaging front seats can be obtained, while partial electrical adjustment from the front seats is standard. Elegance and R-Line the sole trim levels. Standard products are extensive. Plenty of optional extras available. The Arteon will come in 2 specifications, Elegance and R-Line. Both are pretty much kitted out, with just some, mainly aesthetic, details separating both. Standard Volkswagen Arteon coupe equipment. Desirable kit like sat-nav, Bluetooth, adaptive cruise control and heated leather seats is standard across all models, with R-Line cars gaining sharper sporty styling details. Elegance models include adaptive LED self-leveling headlights, 18-inch alloy wheels, full-size spare alloy wheel, 8.0-inch touchscreen media system, Bluetooth with capability to pair 2 devices simultaneously, 3-zone climate control, automatic headlights and windscreen wipers, front and rear parking sensors, adaptive cruise control, active info display digital dials, Nappa leather upholstery, heated front seats, electric driver's seats, electric folding wing mirrors, R-Line ads, 19-inch alloy wheels, R-Line styling pack, R-Line leather sports seats, black roof lining, optional Volkswagen Arteon coupe extras. Key optional items range from the AirCare Climatronic, an elegant 3-zone climate control system, filled with air quality sensors and active biogenic filters to defend you from a number of airborne nasties, along with the DCC adaptive suspension. Lots of active safety systems available. The most innovative are only optional, though. Arteon gets to be a 5-star NCAP score. If it's safety you desire, the Arteons have it. In addition to all the airbags, electronic stability control systems and autonomous emergency braking capability we've arrived at expect through the latest cars, you will find stacks of a lot more advanced systems being offered, too. Volkswagen Arteon Coupe Safety Systems. The Arteon's adaptive cruise control method is the first inside a VW that monitors speed limits, utilizing the speed assistant, and describes sat-nav data, the bend assistant, so as to automatically adjust the set speed. This is the second step around the path towards autonomous cars, though few people will appreciate its good intentions, and don't expect the interest rate adjustments to be infallible. In practice it functions remarkably well, slowing not just for speed limits but junctions along with hazards. It also accelerates back around new limits with alacrity, and steers itself very smoothly in short periods. Genuinely impressive. Second generation autonomous emergency braking. The Arteon also carries a second generation emergency assist system. Should the trucker become incapacitated for reasons unknown, emergency assist may now not only slow the automobile to a stop, additionally, it can steer your vehicle to the side in the road, say through the outside lane of your motorway towards the inside. It functions by combining the adaptive cruise control, side assist blind spot monitoring system and the conventional fit, lane assist lane guidance system, but only works when traffic approaching from behind causes it to become safe to complete so. Again, this appears to be work remarkably well, and in terms of we've had time to safely test drive it. Active headlights available. Next innovation is undoubtedly an updated dynamic light assist system. This improves upon conventional cornering lights, which illuminate bends while you turn the tire, by integrating this ability, which has a forward-facing camera as well as the sat-nav route data. This means it could illuminate corners before you've turned the controls. We're not yet been able to test this, however it sounds helpful anyway. The pre-crash system, which prepares the automobile in cases of unavoidable impact, now reacts not just to dangers detected by extreme handling changes and objects in front but dangers from your rear. Meanwhile, traffic jam assist will take care of driving and congestion approximately 37 miles per hour, utilizing a combination of sensors, but similar to most with the above, only in situations where it is in a position to detect the lane markings successfully. The Arteon also features an energetic bonnet in lowering injury to pedestrians if the worst should happen. How many Isofix baby car seats can I fit in a very Volkswagen Arteon coupe? There are 2 Isofix mountings inside the Arteon, one on each on the outer rear seats. Volkswagen Arteon Euro NCAP rating. Euro NCAP has in the Arteon a 5-star score, reflecting the raft of safety equipment available, both optional in addition to being standard. With its extensive choice of available active safety systems, along with the fact that it's based within the Passat, this score wasn't unexpected, but very welcome in 2019's tougher Euro NCAP tests. The Arteon's large footprint means there is a good amount of room for passengers back and front, though anyone inside the middle rear is forced to straddle the transmission tunnel in 4-wheel drive models, making that seat perfect to smaller children. The Arteon may look slinky in side pictures, but usually this is a substantial car, lower but wider and longer compared to VW Passat. Still, that length is comfortably under 5 meters, therefore it isn't so massive that car parks become unmanageably awkward. But you may very well want to look at the dimensions of your garage before purchase, proving that you just don't ought to sacrifice practicality whenever you opt to get a slinkier, sportier car. The Arteon's enormous boot is accessed via a substantial tailgate, doing it an immediate edge over its 4-door CC predecessor.